Hey everyone, happy Monday. And today I'm talking to you about what's going on in the new build world, but also the interest rate world. Now, we were going to have Stacey Patruk from Dominion Lending join us live, but with technical difficulties, she will be joining us via comments. So she's going to be answering questions, and as she posts the answers in comments, I'll post it into the feed so that you guys can see the answers. So if you have any questions for the mortgage broker, please comment down below and I'll make sure to get your questions answered. So what is going on in the new build world right now? The discounts as of today have gone down a lot with Pacesetter. My discounts have gone down to like 2%. It's very low. Last year we were getting 6 to 8%, and then it dropped midway, and then it's been dropping ever since. So discounting is starting to drop and almost be non-existent with some builders. I've noticed some of them don't even negotiate anything. They won't even let you change anything. So if you are looking to buy new build, there's obviously still reasons that you would be doing it. There's not very many spec properties left. So, if you are thinking about building, just to give you an idea of timeline, if you're writing an offer today, you're not going to get your house for another 10 to 12 months. And so we're March right now already. So that puts us into January, February of next year. So talking about that, this is the question I wanted to ask Stacey. So Stacey, you're listening. I'm pretty sure you're on right now. Is what is going on, first of all, with interest rates? Before we go into, building and interest rates and mortgages, what is happening with the interest rates right now? Everyone knows that the interest rates have gone up in the last week, and they're forecast, I believe, to go up again. If you can comment to us as to what you're seeing, if you think the rates are going to go back down, there's some speculation that interest rates are going to go back down again. But of course, that's all speculation. So if Stacey can answer that question, I'm also going to talk to you guys about building and selling at the same time. So as soon as Stacey posts her information about the interest rates, I will post that in the comments and we'll kind of chat with that. So selling and building timeline and options. So I mentioned to you that if you were to build right now, you're probably not going to get your house until January, February of next year. And if you have to sell your home, what is the best option? Should you, A, sell now because the market's crazy and it's spring market? Or B, do you build the home and then sell kind of like in November with a longer possession, or even October with a longer possession? Now, my comment to you about this is that selling and building is very finicky. You actually need to make sure you're approved with your mortgage broker. Just because you have a house for a certain amount of money, let's say you have a house that's worth $550 and you're buying a $450, let's say you're downsizing. It does not mean that you for sure are going to be able to get that mortgage and carry both. There's a lot of questions in the air that you have to talk to a mortgage broker about. I think Stacey's having some technical difficulties because I don't see any comments being posted, so she hasn't answered our question yet. But if you are looking to sell and build, you need to make sure you talk to the mortgage broker before you even do that. Don't just assume that you own a home, you can just quickly get approved for that mortgage. It doesn't always work. So there's a few different scenarios. Scenario one is selling your home to have an accepted offer and then start the building process. This is the most, I guess, in one way stress-free. It's not stressful, it's still stressful because you're going to be moving out of your house. So what we could do is take advantage of the market right now, get your home listed, get it on the market, get it sold. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask for a very long possession date. Now, 90 days is typically the longest we usually see, but because we're in a seller's market, depending on where you are, we may be able to negotiate an even longer possession because sellers do have a little bit more say and control now. Now, that's all very vague because if a buyer does want your home and wants to move in, they may be actually willing to pay you a little bit more money to get you out of your house sooner. So what we would do is we'd offer a 90-day possession, but then we'd negotiate. So there is a chance, obviously, that you will be very likely renting or staying somewhere else because it's going to be 10 months before you can actually get into your house. And so even if we put your house on the market in March, get it sold by the end of March and get your possession, let's say June, you still have another 6 months to be somewhere, right? So you want to kind of think about that. If you are buying a house that is almost done and it is in framing stage or in finishing stage, we need to put that house up now and take advantage of the market, because we can actually negotiate the possession to actually work for you. Now, when you're building a home, some builders will want an unconditional approval. So if your mortgage broker says to you that you're approved for a mortgage of 580 to buy that new build, but you need to sell your house, you will only be getting a conditional approval, which means you're approved for 580 if you sell your house and if you sell your house for X. So this is why the realtor is important, to give you the value of what your house will sell for. Now, most builders want an unconditional approval. A conditional approval is not good enough. So in order to get an unconditional approval, you need to sell your house. And we did have to help our clients do that. So we had their house sell, and then they moved in with their parents. This is pre-COVID, and what you guys choose to do with where you go is up to you. But we sold their place and got it sold. So then that was out of the way. They didn't have to worry about it. And then they did what was called a draw mortgage. So with the interest rates starting to climb, and I don't know if they're going to go back down or not, the draw mortgage is actually beneficial, because you can actually, as soon as the first draw happens, within the first couple months of you signing papers, that interest rate is now locked in, and that is the rate you get. Now, you don't start paying your mortgage until you move in. The builder, depending on the builder, will pay for that interest during the time that you're using this. So it's actually beneficial to save, and that's what my client did. She got the interest rate, and it was locked in at a draw mortgage. So then when she got her home, it was the interest rate that had started initially. So that's if you have to sell your home, then you would start the build process. Now, there's another scenario. You start the build process and then you put your house up for sale. Now, this is only if you're approved. Maybe you're approved to actually hold both properties. Now, we know we're not going to hold both properties. You don't want to hold both properties, but you can. So we can put an offer in that way, get you started on that side, and not put your house up for sale until it's actually closer to the time of actually getting keys. Now, it's a big balance and guessing game, because builders will not tell you that your date of possession until 35 days in advance. That being said, there's a lot of things that we know and timelines that we have seen. Obviously, there's always variables that we can't control, to give you at least some sort of estimated guess as to when your house is going to be ready for possession. With that knowledge, we can then help you coordinate getting your house up on the market for sale and making sure that you're hopefully not going to have to move twice. You may need to use a bridge loan if we end up selling your home and you moving out, getting your new home first before having to give up the old house, if a bridge loan is necessary. And I just did a video on that last week, so you can take a look last week at what a bridge loan is. But that's the scenario only if you're approved. Please make sure that you speak to a mortgage broker, because it's not always a guarantee that you can carry both properties. If you can, it's really nice, because then you don't have to move twice. You don't have to move your whole family into one place and then another place. And if you have no choice, then we have to do that. Now, all this being said, I want to talk to you about the timeline, because if we're selling your home and you're building and you're taking possession in January, February, I would try to caution you away from waiting until October, November to sell. Typically, that's a slower time of year to sell, less buyers. You're probably going to get less money for your house, potentially. That's all, again, big picture, me talking vaguely. But it would be more ideal to take advantage of this market that we're having and experiencing right now. And if you can sell your home in the spring market and have a longer possession date, and yes, you will have to move, but you may be able to save yourself the grief of potentially having the house still for sale when you're about to get your house. So you want to make sure that you talk to me, talk to your realtor to figure out what it is that you're going to do for timeline. Because if you're starting that process now, you're looking at next year. There's just no way. You're not going to get your house in December. It's not realistic. If someone's telling you you can move in by December, that's very unrealistic. You've got permits to have to go through. You've got the construction to have to start. Usually when the ground is dug, you've got about 6 months out, right? So in order for the ground to be dug, you have to have permits and approvals and all that kind of stuff in place already at this stage to get your home before the end of the year. So if anyone's digging the house now, April, May, you'll still get your house. But if you haven't started the process and you're just looking at this, your house isn't going to get dug until, I'm guessing the earliest would be May or June, because it's going to take some time to get all that stuff out of the way, including your financing. So if you're looking at selling and building, make sure you reach out and let me know. It's kind of a convoluted, it's a big process. And I'm trying to squeeze it in into a 10-minute increment of explaining to you how this works. So if I haven't covered your questions, make sure you comment below and I'll make sure to answer. Stacy obviously wasn't able to figure out commenting on the Facebook feed, so we haven't been able to put her answers into the feed. So she will be answering any questions on the comments in the post, and I'll tag her so that you guys can get your questions answered in terms of what happens with interest rates. Your interest rate is a little bit higher for a draw mortgage than it would be a completion mortgage. So you have to take a look at that, but you need to have a broker on your side to kind of run the different scenarios with you. You need to have a realtor on your side to run all the different scenarios through it with you. And then we pick the best option that works best for you. There's no one size fits all solution because everyone has different life circumstances and different financial circumstances and different build processes, and whether it's a fully custom, if it's a spec, if it's half built, or whatever the case may be. So hopefully this video helped you. I didn't really update you a whole lot on my neighbors because they're pretty much done and they're going to be moving in soon. So have a great Monday and we'll talk to you guys next week.